I hope you're doing okay. Today I am going to talk to Queen Frye, who is not only an amazing coordinator for Support and Feed in Minneapolis, but she's also an urban farmer. And I really want to hear what she's doing there, and I want to hear what's going on there. Of course, we all see on all of our feeds and a little bit on the news. Let's be honest, they're not covering it enough, but a little bit on our feeds, what's happening in Minneapolis. And I don't know, we're so obsessed with the news right now. It's so disheartening. So I'm going to talk to Queen because she's also an urban farmer, which is such an important, what do we want to call it? Career. What do we call it when we're involved in nature and a job that is satisfying? I feel like there's not a right term for that. It's not really career, job. Those don't really fill the gap. So we need to come up with a word. I realized I'm just sitting in front of my prunes. And prunes, I just wanted to say, are actually so nutritious and delicious and full of fiber. And maybe you're not a prune eater. When I was a kid, everyone ate prunes to help them go to the bathroom. And that's kind of how you thought of them. But they're actually so delicious. They're dried plums. And I highly recommend them. I put them in oatmeal. I put them in muffins. I like dried cherries, a lot of things. But prunes are really good. So if you haven't discovered them, give them a try. Everyone's talking about fiber. Well, fiber is really found in plants, plant-based food, fruits, vegetables, grains, nuts, seeds. These are all full of fiber. So when you're seeing all the health trends about fiber, it's nothing new. It's just food that's really good for you, and it's plant-based food. So if you're eating at least one fully plant-based meal a day, doing the Support and Feed pledge, hopefully you're getting enough fiber. But if you want to eat more fiber, just eat more fruits and vegetables, and you can add some prunes. These are so delicious. All right, I am going to go talk to Queen. Also, I'm not seeing my comments scroll, so hopefully, I never know, they get stopped, and then I can't get them to go. So I'm going to try to get them to go. Thank you for all the nice comments. It's been such a stressful time, hasn't it? And I just want all of you to know that I'm thinking of you and sending lots of love. So I'm going to add Queen so we can hear from her about what is going on in Minneapolis from her point of view, from her vantage. And we can, hold on, I've got to add her. Queen, if you're watching, you can also request to join in case, I think I got you right here. Delivering meals in Minneapolis as we do in our 11 cities in the U.S. with Support and Feed. Hi.
Hi.
Oh, how nice to see you. I'm so happy to see you, to be honest, in the cold, because I love winter. So I'm actually,
Oh, cool.
how nice. Nice. Is this your house?
This is not my house. I brought you guys to the actual garden. And at first I was like, well, people might not want to see it because there's nothing going on. I'm not on the West Coast. I'm in the Midwest. But I was like, no, that would be really fun to just take a field trip and see the space anyway for anyone who's not, used to urban agriculture at all, just to see what the space looks like in any season.
I love it. I love it. And I love it because we don't think about farms in winter. I grew up in Western Colorado. So, you drive by the winter kind of fields, but I love it. Okay. So this is where you have your farm. And first of all, tell us, Queen, how did you get started farming?
Oh, yes. So I tell people I'm a generational urban farmer. I started this, and actually, while I tell my story, I'm going to walk you around the garden because
Please.
that way
Yeah.
you're not just looking at me. But here we are. We're at Our Roots Garden. It's literally in the middle of a public city block. These are all my neighbors. People have come by and supported, and I support them when they want to start things in their garden. And at their homes. But I started as just a generational urban gardener in the Boston housing projects of Massachusetts. And
Wow.
my grandmother used to have a plot. And then she would teach us these skills. And when we moved here to Minnesota, we started growing in our backyard. So we would like rent out a house like my friends here, and
Uh-huh.
we would just start a garden in the back. And we did that for several years until I became an adult and I moved out on my own. And since I was just so used to that familial practice, I kept it going. But that's not really how I got here to this space. This space came about not because I was trying to get into urban agriculture, but because I was facilitating a writing group for men that were transitioning out of prison. And I was looking for like alternate writing spaces to be creative. And I was like, wow, okay, well, I can teach him two things. I know agriculture and I know writing, and maybe we can merge the two, and this will be a nice healing space. So I transitioned to a space like this for writing. But then in 2020, we kind of, went on this deep dive into, the pandemic and the unrest. And this space became, a haven for people looking to express their voices about what they were experiencing in that time period. It also became a healing space. We've done things like massages, open mic poetry.
Oh,
We've had
nice.
community conversations. And now, what our Roots Garden has evolved into is a space where you can learn how to grow, harvest, and save seeds as a way to. Our mission now is to grow nutrition for disease prevention.
Wow.
Um,
Can
so,
I stop you there and
yeah.
come back to you? I want to ask you a question because I always hear this phrase, and I think a lot of people do saving seeds, you know? And
Mhm.
what is the importance of that? Like, why do you do it? It's something
Oh,
we hear a
yeah.
lot, like your seed savers, etc.
So saving seeds is like, I feel like is an essential part to sustainability and saving the environment as well. Um, your plants literally, they they give you these things. When you eat them, you can see them in your foods. Not so much your leafy greens, that's a different process. But when you eat things like cucumbers and tomatoes and squashes, the seeds are right there provided for you where you can begin to grow your own food after that. And it's very important because it's sustainable. That means we're spending less money, less manufacturing on producing seeds at a larger scale. And I can show you what like an example of that would be like.
Yeah,
So
dude.
in the garden here, we have, where are my friends? Okay, so this flower, okay, maybe that's not a good example. I will find one as we're talking
Well,
because there are some.
I
Aha,
love it.
here we go.
Let's see. Yeah, because we
This
kind of forget
here.
that plants grow from seeds and then you have the plant and you have more seeds. And I think we take that out of
Mhm.
our mind that we actually have the ability to start it right there.
Yes, yes. So you can see there's a lot of rabbit feet prints in here because
Yeah.
I've left the brassicas. They love those. So I left those for them to eat over the winter. But here, this is actually a zinnia that comes from the cut flower project that I work on with the horticulture sciences with the University of Minnesota. And inside here, there are some seeds still.
Oh,
I will So what nature does is, if you can see those things fall into the ground, nature inside the flower, when it dries out, you have these seeds. And in particular, this one right there kind of
wow.
looks like a spear.
Uh-huh.
And those will just fall to the ground like that. And over the winter, they'll just winterize, plant themselves in the ground, and then it'll automatically grow up more zinnias next year. No effort from me. That's just the natural process of the plant cycle. So those
Wow.
are some real seeds
But
there.
when you have this garden, because now I'm thinking about all the things you're growing. You've got flowers, you've got things to eat, you've got,
Mhm.
you know, your writing workshops and all of your what's happening with what you grow in general. So you're teaching people to grow, and then also you're growing. And what are you using your own produce for, or your what you grow?
Oh, absolutely. So we also grow native plants now. That was very important to install native plants into the garden. And Metro Blooms helped me with that. And then throughout the seasons, I started to add value added products like so part of the process is we teach people how to grow. I created a 10-step plan where I work with either the youth from the City of Minneapolis Step Up program. They come and I teach them very basic how to grow your own garden. And then you can turn your products into what this is, which is sage powder. So I grew the sage plant and turned this into a seasoning that you can then use. Most people use it for like mainly during like Thanksgiving time. Um, or I grew this okra and then I teach people how to preserve it this way by freezing it. And then you can enjoy some okra later, like in a soup, or you can have it fried, which some people do. And then I use my flowers or my herbs to create tea blends. So
Mm.
here I have one that's just strictly mint tea, and then the other one I have here is chamomile. So
Wow.
that's what I've, and then, when we have things that's fresh in season, we sell those at our farm stand right here at the garden. So people will come and they're like, oh, they want okra or Brussels sprouts, and I'll get it straight off the vine. So it literally goes from the vine straight home with them. Hmm.
Wow. So in the summer
Yeah.
you have a farm stand and people come by.
Hmm.
How many urban farms, so many questions. I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Is how many urban farms, like, can a city sort of accommodate sort of a farm on every block? Are you finding more and more people who want to grow all their own food in their backyard? Like, what? It's so inspiring. Where
Hmm.
do you think people should start, and how far can we go?
Yeah, so the wonderful world of agriculture started here in North Minneapolis around 2010. There are some other land stewards that have come before me, but when I popped up on the scene in 2020, there was probably about maybe, I don't know, five or so, maybe 5 to 10, like gardens that were consistently doing the work. And I started going through like this. Our city council created an opportunity for community members to just take up these vacant lots and turn them into green spaces, which is a wonderful opportunity. You can buy a lot for $1 if you're doing a community garden, or you can buy a lot for $150 if you're doing a market garden. Um,
Wow.
so we have that opportunity. And then, or you can partner with the U of M. Now they have, I believe, 2 locations where they look for residents around here to steward that garden in their community. But you touched on a very important point of something that I'm working on in the future, because these vacant lots exist on every block in the city. And I thought it would be beneficial because not one single garden can really mass produce, enough produce for the whole city. But if we had a garden, at least use one vacant lot on every city block, that garden could focus on feeding the people that live on just that block, which I hope could become a reality in the future.
That would be amazing. I know there's so many cool places like LA. There's Crop Swap, where they grow
Mhm.
everything on that one, they take over one yard and everything. But in
Mhm.
LA we have like more limited resources in water, etc. Is that
Mhm.
a challenge for you there in the summer, or is that sort of, yeah, do you have to have irrigation?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, our resources and our challenges are more like it's soil, access to water. It's not that we are lacking water, but we're lacking access
Mm.
to clean water. I'll show you an example that I've implemented here. These are food grade IBC totes. And what I like to do is I'm a permaculturist, so I mimic nature. Everything I have here is natural. It's come from the neighborhood. It'll break down and go back into the earth. And so I collect my own rainwater there and here to feed the plants. And my plants only get rainwater. I don't use rainwater from my neighbors' homes. I've kind of, transitioned out of that. So I collect rainwater.
Oh.
It also saves me money. And I just use nature. And the soil sometimes is what is the most complicated part, because these lots, like my lot, has been vacant for 15 years before I came upon it. And I did a soil testing through the University of Minnesota, which I do every 3 years. And they give you back your results. They'll even bring out a soil health specialist to kind of break down your results to be able to add more phosphorus or nitrogen to your soil. But that's usually the main concern people have, is lead in the soil.
Mm.
Um, I do remember when I first met you, you asked me particularly about water, and it really, really started my thinking on conservation, because I was like, well, I don't live in the Midwest, but that could happen here.
Mm.
And so, you know, paying attention and using what I can from the earth and adapting to that as we evolve has been my focus since our conversation, because I was like, that could happen here. And I want to make sure I can still do this,
Mm.
even if we have a depletion of natural resources.
That is one of the terribly worrying things, is that our climate crisis is changing our weather patterns. And I know there are people who can kind of predict where we're going to be, but areas that used to be very fertile with lots of water are going to be arid, and we're going to have to change much hotter, et cetera. Crops that used to grow. Yeah, it's one of the things I feel like everyone has to add into their planning of whatever they do now, is like, what's it going to look like in 5 years? What
Yeah.
sometimes next year could be because some of it's the patterns are so random now.
And just within this will be my 8th season. We have moved from the USDA Hardy Zone 4 to 5B now. So
Really?
our climate has changed, and that's not even a whole 10 years for me. This is my 8th season. Yep.
Wow, that
So
is
you're
so
spot on.
that is interesting.
Mhm.
I want to see more of your farm, but I also want to talk a little bit about Minneapolis. We
Yes.
you're our program coordinator, our coordinator of meals, etc. in Minneapolis.
Yes.
And I love Minneapolis. It's so crazy. Anybody who's ever been to Minneapolis is like one of the best cities. Everything, and the idea that you know what's happening there is so horrific. So what is it like on a daily basis? And I know, like, the story, because there's so many terrible stories now in the news,
Yes.
that you can't sort of focus on each one of them all day. So what are you feeling, what are you experiencing, and how is it impacting what you do?
Yes. So the surge that mainly took place within the last 30 days was probably the most uncomfortable time for everybody, even through today. Um, Hopefully now people are really starting to see that on mainstream media of what's really happening here, because I think that was the main hardship of things that were happening, but then the narrative was being told in a different way. And that was a little bit frustrating, but mostly it's very quiet. I don't know if you just heard it get quiet. The light at the main intersection will change, and then you'll hear a few cars. But this isn't that normal. So people are mostly shut in. Um, so that has been impacted. We have a network of people in the food network that are distributing resources to those that are afraid to come out, and to people that have been impacted within the restaurant industry, their jobs. They push to have a rent addendum where they can have either their rent delayed or excused or paid for them because of the impact that this is having. But it was very terrorizing. I have a toolkit in my car that exists of, like, God, a whistle, knowing what my rights are. I also, because I live with an aortic dissection, I have a pillow that, if I was to be pulled over, I would put inside of my jacket because, as you may have known some stories, they're just snatching people out of their cars, out of their homes, and I am a person that
Oh, wait, we lost you for 1 second. You're a person that what?
there it goes. Can have impact to my chest, and they don't have regard for any human life. So I walk with these safety things. So I have a whistle, my pillow, my medication, just in case I do get detained, because the rule is if you look like, then they will approach you. It doesn't matter if that's what you really are or not. And even myself, I'm not Dominican, but even my Hispanic friends they'll approach me and they'll think that I am. I've some Ethiopians think I'm Ethiopian. Like, so you never know what is in the background of someone. And so they, because they're profiling, it's very scary. That part about life is very scary because you already are being profiled on a daily basis, but now there's this extreme surge, and we feel outnumbered. We don't feel heard, and yeah, feel terrorized. And then, to see our local leaders and local journalists being arrested and having to go through federal charges, it kind of takes away from the momentum. And then you're also told like not to respond, but you're being affected, but you can't respond, and I don't understand that space. So I focus on helping people that need food, that need resources at this time, to do, what I can. Yeah.
Wow, that's really chilling, and I think what's extra chilling is that as you're walking around, and
Mhm.
we're looking at this beautiful summer urban farm and the beautiful wintering of it, and it is quiet, and quiet is usually equated in our mind with good things, right? It's equated with it's equated with a peaceful thing, but it's not normal to be quiet in a city. That is a terrible sign.
Nope.
And that's very, very chilling and frightening.
Yeah, like people are missing from their roles that your daily life, people started missing. That was the first wave, like cars, people, my nephew's bus driver, it was like, oh man, this is really happening. And then it became more serious than that, where kids are not going to school. Um, so it's a heavy impact, and there are people that are preparing for, what do we do after this is over? And then it's like, well, when is this going to be over?
Yeah, when is it going to be over? There doesn't seem to be, even when they make these efforts to say they've pulled back, there's still so many pulled back. It's not like it's over. It's not like it's stopped.
No, it's a everyday thing, every day.
And you mentioned the restaurant industry. People
Hmm.
are afraid to go to restaurants. People
Hmm.
can't work in restaurants because they're
Hmm.
afraid of being kidnapped or taken,
Hmm.
whether they are here legally or not, or in the process of legal process. And none of it, it's all being ignored.
Hmm. Yep.
And
Yep.
and also,
Very much
can I
so.
just bring up, which I don't think we're talking about enough, is the fear of where they're taking people and what is
Mhm.
happening to people. It's I don't think we can even picture. I mean, you read the accounts, and so the fear of like it's not like you're being picked up because you got a boot on your car because you didn't pay your parking tickets, and they're gonna go take you, and they're gonna call someone. It's nothing like that.
Nope. Nope. You could be on your way to work, and you're a citizen, you don't even identify in the two categories, but you will get picked up. You will get harassed. You will get terrorized. There was one man that lives not too far from here. He got picked up twice and taken all the way to the detention center. He's a U.S. citizen, and he was just a black male, just a regular person.
Wow.
So when I go out now to places, it looks very white to me, because there's less people of color that are out at these restaurants. Um, and one of our restaurants that I was trying to contact and onboard to be a part of our restaurant partners, I'm having difficulty because last week, it was the latter part of last week, ICE agents went in there to enjoy a meal, just like they have been doing in other places, but they turned around and then arrested some of the employees. But they didn't do that yet, but they have been going there eating. So it puts them on edge. And so I'm trying to be patient. But I do hope that they do come back around and we can onboard them, because I know they're missing business and their employees are missing income from, just ICE going in there and having lunch, because you don't know if it's going to be an honest lunch or if they're turning that into an opportunity like they have in other cases. So.
Do you have any things you want people to know that they can do, or that, how are you feeling about this, how the story is being told? Yeah, from your point of view, what can we be doing from not in Minnesota?
Yes. So, as a city coordinator for Support and Feed, I do have a big ask, because we are trying to mobilize food and we are trying to mobilize plant based options. And so, when I onboarded, my job was to build up the infrastructure here, but I did not know I would be thrown into a situation like this. So in just 30 days, we went from 3 partnered restaurants to 7. And we moved from 5 organizations now to, we're going to onboard 8. We
Mm,
have 106 families that are on our emergency meal list that we deliver to biweekly. That includes youth and their families from our partnered organizations, seniors, and people with disabilities. And we'll be onboarding more people, more organizations as well. And then we also are continuing our regular program meals. But in addition to our emergency meals, we would like to be able to provide them with some more longevity between the hot meals that we provide biweekly through like grocery bags. So our ask right now is to see if we can get any type of in-kind donations so that we can fill these bags with vegetarian, vegan, plant-based options to our families, because the other boxes that are going out that we'd like to partner with, they also have like the meat products in it. But we want to give them something um, continuing the plant-based education that we already are doing. So that's what we've done just in the 30 days. We have 106 plus families that are on our emergency list. And as I reach out to find out where there's more need, I'm pretty sure that number is going to grow. So, in kind donations, if there are restaurants that are listening that are within the Twin Cities that want to partner with us, let us know. Yeah, or families that are in need that we haven't reached out to, let us know.
great. And I'm going to say, and we'll put it in the chat, I think info@supportandfeed.org or Jessica@supportandfeed.org for now. We'll put
Yeah.
those in the chat and maybe we'll correct those. So if anybody's watching, and we'll make a little side clip about this so that if anyone has any in-kind products, or do you need volunteers in Minneapolis?
Oh, yes, that's the other thing too. We are onboarding volunteers to help us do the packing and help us mobilize the food. And it's not just for this period of time. We would love to have our volunteers with us for generations to come. Yeah.
Great. Great. Okay, good. All right, we're going to end because we have like a little moment of hope there, because we need volunteers and we need products and we need donations, and you're doing amazing work. And I want to come back and do another live when the garden is in bloom and you've
Oh,
got all the
that,
things going. That would be so fun to see, like, that would be great.
yeah, see the progress.
Yeah, see the progress. It's so inspiring. I'm not really a great gardener, and I do have like a hydroponic garden,
Oh, that's good.
but I'm always so inspired by it. And I'm like, I talked to David Suzuki on a live one time. He's one of the most famous climate activists. He's turning 90. And he said that he really believes what we need to be doing now is growing our own food and like sort of preparing for, unfortunately, the terrible worst future that we have set up for ourselves. So it's never been more important what you're doing. And I might be calling you for some startup tips.
I'm here for you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you for all you do. Much love. And we're thinking of you. We're all holding you all in our hearts, and we appreciate you so much.
Thank you too, Maggie. Thank you for all your hard work and starting Support and Feed. This was awesome idea. I'm glad.
Oh, so nice to meet you and meet you. So nice to see you here. I love you and thank you for everything you do. Bye. Wow. Okay, I'm going to cry because that was very moving. um, what a hard time in our country, and there's so many amazing people doing such incredible things, and it's inspiring, isn't it? To see. It was chilling to me to hear how quiet it was. You almost, I honestly at the start, I kind of felt like she'd driven out to like a rural farm, and I was like, wait, I thought this was a farm in the city. And then we, of course, realized it's so quiet because everyone is kind of hiding. Um, so that's what it's like in the U.S. And please, help us find more volunteers in Minneapolis and indeed in all of the cities where we have a program. And if you know anyone who has in kind, let's just explain what that means. Like maybe you're in Minneapolis or you're somewhere else and you have a product that is plant-based and you have too much of it or extra or some of it's going to expire, send it our way and we'll get it to people who need it. So thank you all for being here today. The world is a really scary place right now, I have to say, and it just means so much to me to share this time with you. And I appreciate all of you taking the time. I know if you're here, that means you care about what's going on in the world and you know what's going on in the world. I heard about someone the other day. I was completely shocked about someone who was a young person, maybe 26 in the US, involved in a project. And then somebody said something about Minneapolis, and they said, oh, what's happening in Minnesota? And shocking to me that anyone could be not paying attention. So if you're here, I know you are paying attention. So thank you so much. And I'm sending you lots of strength and love. Oh, I just forgot. It is Valentine's Day this week. I'm sorry I haven't done any Valentine type things, but I have a couple ideas. So maybe I'll shoot one out of them there and make a little video for you. Okay. Love you all. Bye.